Welcome back. In this particular topic, we are going to learn about functions. So what is a function? It is a block of organized reusable code. As a programmer, it is important for us to write lines of code and execute the programming logic. But is it always like we need to rewrite everything from the scratch? You would have learned about libraries. Libraries is one form where we are able to import the code which has been written already. So instead of reinventing the wheel, we are able to bring those reusable components and apply it. Like that, one of the best coding practices that we can follow when we are writing programming language like Python is you can have functions defined. So functions are a block of organized reusable code which can be used to execute the same thing over and over again. That is, some piece of code, if you believe that it's going to be executed continuously again and again, you can write it as a function and you can call that function passing some parameters, execute the lines of code with those parameters and get the response back. Why do we need functions? What are the benefits of functions? The first and foremost benefit, as you would have understood right, is it removes duplication of the code. Instead of writing that same lines of code again and again, I have written it once and I'm triggering that code again and again by calling that function. That's the biggest advantage. The second important advantage is you can decompose the complex problems into smaller pieces and simpler pieces so that you're able to carve them out as functions, and by triggering those functions, you're able to execute that code. Are you able to connect this concept with the hoops concept? Python is a hoops programming language, isn't it? It follows the hoops basic concepts. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to abstract and encapsulate a piece of code in the form of a function. Thereby, you're reducing the complexity and you're breaking them into smaller and simpler code. So that's the second biggest benefit of functions. The third one is clarity. When somebody goes through the lines of code, maintenance is something which is important, isn't it? When somebody goes through the lines of code, when you're writing functions, it is easier for them to refer, it is easier for them to navigate and find out what is happening inside those functions. So that's the third biggest advantage. And last but not least, when you have written the code, reusability is something which is very, very important. Any good programmer is judged by the kind of comments and by the kind of reusable code that the programmer has created. So functions really help you out from that point of view. So that's the biggest advantage of functions. Now I'll give you a simple example of what functions is all about. Let's say that you want to convert a Celsius temperature to Fahrenheit. So you are getting some code, you're getting a huge table whereby the data is available in the form of Celsius. You want to convert that Celsius to Fahrenheit. So every line of code, you are going to pass it across to this program or a function, and you are going to get that output in the form of Fahrenheit. So input is Celsius, output is Fahrenheit. Sounds very simple, isn't it? Now, if I want to do this, will I do it for every row? Am I going to write the same code again and again? It doesn't make sense, isn't it? The common sense tells us that we just need to write a simple function. A function to convert Celsius to Fahrenheit, whereby you say that you accept something as an input, as you can see, like Celsius equal to float, because it can be in numbers like decimals. So I'm defining it as a float data type, if you're able to reconnect it with the previous modules and the sections that we covered. So Celsius equal to float, and you're accepting input like enter temperature in Celsius. Like the data can come in any form, you're asking the data to come in Celsius format. And then you're converting the Celsius to Fahrenheit. You know the formula for conversion. So Fahrenheit is equal to Celsius into 9 divided by 5 plus 32. Now this is the formula that you apply to convert Celsius to Fahrenheit. Now are you going to write that formula for every line of code? No. You create a function, you put it across in a function, you pass input parameters and you get output in the form of Fahrenheit. That's exactly what we have done. So you have created a function, you are passing the input in Celsius, You're executing this piece of code, the logic that has been given for converting Celsius to Fahrenheit, and then you're getting the output. And that output is getting printed. And that's exactly what you are seeing on the screen as an example of a function. So functions are one of the biggest assets of Python, or for any other programming language, I would say. So you should know how to use functions. You should know when to create functions. So anything reusable, anything that you are going to execute again and again, it is important for you to create functions and then carve it out as a separate piece of code, and you just invoke it by passing in the right parameters and you get the necessary output. So remember, functions are important, and a good programmer creates reusable components of code like functions always. In the next topic, we will understand the different types of functions that are there. So I'll see you in the next topic and explain to you what those types are. Thank you.